Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
2020 is the year of accurate, perfect vision of where we are as a society. I mean, goodness gracious, we knew the world was a scary place, but when this COVID thing hit, it drove it home and made it more personal. We knew there was people out there doing some shady things in politics, and goodness gracious, did it get obvious when everything was exposed and continues to be exposed and continues to have a news story like this come out on the regular. People just continue exposing themselves and we get to see them for who they really are. And that is, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know. But nevertheless, this just came out. Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, which I feel like Rudy Giuliani did a pretty good job as the former mayor of New York, is in the new Borat. Now, Borat is by a comedian named Sasha. I always butcher his last name. You guys know who he is, though. And he does these films, Borat, Ali G. He used to be a show on HBO a long time. He's a comedian, sketch comic, the whole bit. He does these different characters. Borat is one of them. Last one came out like 15 years ago. I come from that part of the country. Very relatable. These are like my dad's friends that I grew up with around. Like, hilarious. And so I wanted to get into this story with you guys. All right, so here it is. New Borat film includes a compromising scene with Rudy Giuliani. This is trending #1 and #2 on Twitter with the lifted embargo for the upcoming Sacha Baron, that's his name, Sacha Baron Cohen release. Came spoilers about a hotel room encounter between U.S. President Trump's personal lawyer and an actor playing Borat's daughter. Now, I talk a lot about being congruent. I talk a lot about being congruent. I talk a lot about being consistent. I talk a lot about having your house in order and being careful with access to excess. Meaning when you have access to opportunities to wild out, then I think, hey man, you got to be careful with these things. And this is no different in a situation like this where you have Donald Trump's personal attorney now being in this perceived scandal, right? And I'll pull up the story and the pictures. This is directly from, Variety magazine, so you can take this with a grain of salt. We'll get past this. Borat's single and a scene from the film out this Friday on Amazon, which, by the way, this is going to drive the ratings and the numbers way up for this joint. Giuliani is trickled into entering the bedroom of a hotel suite by Mariah Baklava, portraying Borat's daughter. Posing as a journalist, the 24-year-old actor invites Giuliani for a founding interview for a made-up conservative news program. Sacha Cohen is consistently getting people left and right, but this time I think he got hip and he knows that you can't just do it with yourself. You have to create other characters, and so he created this other character posing as a TV journalist who's also his daughter. Apparently, during their encounter, the attorney drinks scotch, coughs, and ignores social distancing measures. At what point he even tells Bakalova that the president's speedy responses in the spring saved the lives of millions of Americans from dying from the corona outbreak. I'd say he saved millions of lives. Under the guise of a mic operator, Borat comes in and adjusts Giuliani's mic and asks him, is she asking too many questions? The pair retreat at her suggestion for a drink to a bedroom that is equipped with concealed cameras capturing the attorney every move. After she removes his microphone, Giuliani says, you can give me your phone number and address. He is then seen laying back on the bed, fiddling with his shirt before reaching into his trousers. He is interrupted by Borat, who runs into the room and says, she's 15. She's too old for you. No. Giuliani tweeted Wednesday that he was tucking in his shirt and that the video is a complete fabrication. Allegedly, he's saying it's alleged. Now, here's his response. This is the tweet from Rudy Giuliani. The Borat video is complete fabrication. I was tucking in my shirt after taking off the recording equipment. At no time during or after the interview was I ever inappropriate. If Sacha Baron Cohen implies otherwise, he is a cold stone liar. So, story comes out. He's like, no, it didn't happen. He is a liar. Lie, right? And then they leaked the photos. No! Gosh, this is bad. He has his hands in his pants. Josh Gad responded to the controversial scene via Twitter, saying, "It is worse than you think. Haven't seen Borat 2. I can now safely tell you Rudy Giuliani is over in a very big way. It's worse than you think and more uncomfortable than anything I've seen in a recent film." In a recent interview with the New York Times, Baron Cohen said he wanted to reprise his role to reveal the slide to dangerous authoritarianism. Borat's subsequent movie film, which concludes with an encouragement to viewers to vote, will be released on Friday on Amazon Prime. Whoo! Gosh, this is messy. This is messy, man. I tell you what, listen. Anybody is liable to make some stupid decisions. Anybody in just about from any walk of life, unless you were just, you're just a man with self-control and the whole thing. Anybody's liable to just do some dumb stuff, say some dumb stuff. But what happens a lot of times, and I don't know all the particulars, so this isn't to speak specifically about the Giuliani situation, but it appears like he may have allowed himself to be in this uncompromising position, and then it just revealed the overflow of his heart and who he really was in a uncompromised situation. You know what I'm saying? Rudy Giuliani is definitely not anybody, right? He's attorney, former mayor of New York, Donald Trump confidant. However, it still begs the question, does absolute power absolutely corrupts? It seems like it does, and it seems like, with Sacha Baron Cohen's point of everything sliding into authoritarianism, and that's kind of the extreme fascism, authoritarianism, Trump doing whatever he wants, being able to run the country like he wants. People are afraid of that. People are nervous of that. A lot of people are like, that's what we got to get out of the office. Listen, I don't know if any one person can slide the country, America, into authoritarianism. We have 3 branches of government. We have all kinds of different checks and balances in place. Our founding fathers were not perfect, but they did get checks and balances in place. So obviously we got the Supreme Court, we got the House, we got the executive branch, so on and so forth, right? So I don't know if any one and that's why I'm not that stressed out. That's why I'm politically agnostic. That's why I'm not that stressed out about the election. If one person can have this much of an emotional impact on you, whether you're pro-Trump, anti-Trump, pro-Biden, anti-Biden, if one person can change your emotional state this much, I would really reevaluate what you're considering. But the big idea, I think, in this context is, are people with unchecked power, access to excess, positioned to fail because they don't set boundaries and they don't have checks and balances in their personal lives to avoid these types of scandals? Now, again, Rudy Giuliani is completely denying this thing. Clearly he was set up, but that's clearly Sacha Baron Cohen's MO with the whole Borat thing. Is he's known for setting up people. He's known for making people look crazy. He's obviously a left liberal type of figure. He's, a sketch comic, so on and so forth. This has been going on. I've been keeping up with this stuff for 15 years. I'm, good, bad, and different. Neither really here or there. But I think it begs the question, instead of just, looking out and saying, look, politicians are bad, people in power are bad. True. Yeah. But they, to me, are just a manifestation of the human heart and how all of us can make really stupid, dumb decisions when we have unchecked amounts of power. And that's not to dismiss Rudy Giuliani in the situation. Granted, I haven't seen the footage. We've only seen these photos. Based on the photos, it doesn't look good. Based on the people who've seen it, say it doesn't look good. But it still begs a question of, like, what precautions, what protections, what things are we doing to protect ourselves? Because according to Jeremiah, like, what is more wicked than the human heart? For it does not even know his own situation, its own wickedness. I totally butchered that verse, but you guys know what verse I'm on. What is more wicked? It's deceptive, right? The human heart. That anybody, and in Thessalonians it says to avoid the appearances of evil. Sometimes just the appearance of evil can get us caught up and get us into really, really bad situations. And so, what would your life look like if you didn't just try to avoid sin and avoid making bad decisions, but you actually had maybe some boundaries and some precursors that kind of kept you from even getting that close, right? Kept you from even getting to the edge and looking over, right? I think this is Giuliani kind of putting his foot in the water, looking over, being curious, and then, you know what I mean? And now he just looks wild, he just looks wild. And again, we haven't seen the footage. It's coming out Friday. I don't know if I'm gonna be looking at it. If it's an Amazon Prime, I'm definitely watching this. But I think we should be mindful and let these be cautionary tales without just throwing stones at Giuliani, and be careful and watch and guard our own heart, because ultimately I think that's where wickedness comes from in a lot of ways, right? So those are my thoughts. Maybe I was too easy on Giuliani. Maybe I brushed it off. I wouldn't know what you guys think. Seems like these kind of things come out more and more and more frequently. What do y'all think? Let me know.
King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan.